This is John Carter, and that's Brian Fiore. Together we just got played. We just got done building some buildings and Skyways, people pipes. Skyways by Gryphon Games. Join us at the local Glasgow for Skyways. Fiore.
Yes.
Tell us about Skyways, man.
All right. Skyways is a 2 to 4 player tile/pipe laying game in which each of the players are assuming the and I think it took about 30 minutes to play or so.
Yeah.
And so it was a very quick game in which each of the players are assuming the role of basically an engineer or a head of the industry in the development of skyscrapers. And there's one city here wherever all the players are trying to build out as far as they can, plus building as high as they can, and then trying to take control over the areas or the buildings that are all of the same color, and by placing their headquarter buildings on top of those. Those are going to give you buku points at the end of the game. They're kind of like multipliers depending on what type of area there are and how high they are. So essentially in the game, you're going to start off with, all players are going to start off with a random tile from the bag, which is a 2-piece tile, and it's connected by a skyway. Anytime you lay down one of these, basically you're going to get 2 points plus 1 point for each adjacent tile of the same color, except diagonals don't count, so only orthogonally. The other way you're going to get points is laying down your headquarters on top of those. Anytime you have at least 2 layers high, you can throw down your smallest headquarters on top of, as long as there's 2 layers underneath it. And at the end of the game, what that's going to do is it's going to be worth 2 points times the number of the same color tiles that are chaining off of that one. Now, the other interesting thing about the headquarters is it allows you to lay claim to a certain area of a certain color of tiles, because nobody else can lay down a headquarters that's basically connected into that same color grouping. And you also can't lay down any of your other ones there, so you just got to be careful which one you want to use. Each of the players also start off with some of these one of each of the colors. I think there's 6 different colors total. And everyone starts off with at least 1 of the single tiles. Now, you can use these to help you build up into levels. You can throw these under there in addition, and I think they also give you an additional point as well when you put them down. But you got to kind of temper when you're going to use them, because if you use them early on in the game, it's going to stop you later on from when you can actually lay down your piece. A couple other things to note: these, when you draw them, you're going to play 1 each turn if you can. If you can't, then you just discard it and you essentially lose your turn. But every time you draw these, you're going to want to hide it, because you don't want the other players to know what you're going to do, because they could try to attempt to block you if they've got something that they could, compete for the same space with you on. With that, Patrick, what would you say is your favorite thing about Skyways?
When we first started playing the game, we were laying down a couple pieces here and a couple pieces there. It's usually spread out all over the board, but towards the middle, 3/4 of the way through the game, I guess, it really starts to take on a look of like a bunch of skyscrapers in the city, and it really cosmetically turns into something very, very beautiful. I would say it's the cosmetics of the end game that really does turn out kind of amazing looking. I like it, and I didn't think that way in the beginning, so maybe that's why I feel that way. But John Carter, what do you like the most?
It's actually, and excuse the pun, but the layers of strategy that's in this game. For this round, I definitely went a breadth first approach of just trying to build the biggest color region that I could. But I could also see a lot of paths to victory where instead of going strictly breadth first, you're going depth first, where you're trying to build first. So yeah, I really like that there's a lot of different ways you can approach the game again and again and again.
Brian Fiore, what's the thing you like the most, man?
The thing that I like the most about Skyways is it's a very tactile game. The pieces resemble like blocks, and it's a building game, and you get to build towers and lay tiles and pipes and skyways, and you can imagine like your people running through them. But it's a very hands-on game, where you get to digitally manipulate everything. So it feels really good.
You do love laying people pipes.
Yes. But what would you say is the thing that you like least about Skyways?
I would say it's not a big deal at all, but I would say the graphic art for the score pad or the scoring track, it's score track, right? Score
Right.
You know, pads. Scoring track. So it just cosmetically isn't the prettiest. I wish they would have done something a little differently graphic art wise for the score track. John, you got to pick one thing.
One thing
that you don't like.
And just to mention too, this is a prototype version of the game that we have, so some of the graphic art might change a little bit. Just putting that out there.
Right. That's only good time.
So,
for me, it's explicitly in the rules. It says that if someone has a region they're already building, I can't build another region over here to try to connect and take over. And for me, I love that in games, being able to compete on that level and try to basically ride on the coattails of someone else's hard work. It's one of those little gotchas that I love to, like, their victory stings because they're beating me too, and I love that. And so I just felt that I was a little disappointed that that was not a allowable strategy in this game. Brian.
I would have to say the thing that I like least is that it lacks player aggression or direct player confrontation. You can sort of be passive aggressive if your tile that you have happens to, you kind of know where the other players are going or what they want to do, and if you happen to be able to block them, you could try to do that if that'll still give you enough points, or if you stop them from getting the points. But when it's multiple players, stopping them directly isn't necessarily going to move you ahead and win. So it's a building game, and it just lacks the player confrontation. So you can't, hit somebody over the head or use a wild or something.
You boys are a little aggressive.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Brian's real aggressive when he's laying people pipe.
Sort of. Anytime that laying is involved, I like some aggression. So. Anyways, Skyways will be coming to Kickstarter very, very soon. So lay over there and grab a copy. Add a couple layers. Build up your collection. Yeah.
I'm Patrick. This is John Carter. And that's Brian Fiore. Thank you very much for watching Just Got Played. I think we may have gotten a little, didn't focus enough on how high we got in the game.
That's true.
Yeah, we could have talked about that.
Well,
Because John and I got pretty high.
Yeah.
Well, I got the one. I did get the highest building. Got to join the Mile High Club.
Yours wasn't that high.
Got the highest score.
You didn't get as high as me and John.
What? No, you didn't. You got the lowest score.
Well, it's like golf, right?
No.